In the heart of the woodlands, across open fields, and even in bustling urban environments, a folkloric presence reigns supreme. The red fox's fiery coat and wily spirit have earned it a place in legends. But beyond the myths lies a resilient predator navigating the intricate dance of survival by finding and pouncing on unseen food. Still, this legendary predator uses a near supernatural attunement to the earth to catch prey in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at alditaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Jesse Raspolich, Carol Raspolich, Richard Kaspar, Lottie Aubrey, and Gray Hughes. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
And today we're talking about a predator that will give Mouse Dutch Schafer a run for his money. But more on that later.
That sounds like a reference of something.
Yeah, Dutch Schafer is the name of Arnold's character in The Predator.
Is it really?
Yeah, he's clearly a Schafer.
I mean, I guess there are some hardcore fans of that movie, but I feel like the average person would not know the character's name. It's just Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He's just,
yeah.
that's his. He's just there.
I guess he could be a Schaefer, because that is a Germanic surname. But it's not like what's his name in
Harold?
Harold, what's his last name? Like
I don't know.
Or something.
Yeah, Harold Finkelstein or something like some like super suburban, like American suburban.
Well, if he's a Finkelstein, he could also be from like Germany or a Germanic country.
Maybe. I just remember it not just like this 7-foot Austrian this is not his name. But we're gonna call it here the Fox and the Found. And Sly Guy. Like Shy Guy? Sly Guy? He's sly? Like a fox?
You could have also called him John Elroy Sanford.
That's the thing. I have no idea what you're talking about.
The show Sanford and Son?
I do.
The stage name for the actor that plays the main guy that's always having heart attacks is Red Fox with 2 D's and 2 X's.
I've never understood goofy stage names for actors. Like this is Ice Cube. This is Common. I mean, they're like rappers, so that's their name. But like, you're an actor now. Like you're a person. Put your name up there. Why are you Common? Like,
well, this guy this was before he had to consider the SEO ramifications of being named Red Fox.
I think it's kind of goofy when you're a grown-up with a nickname like that. And that goes for musicians as well. I'm looking at you, Sting and Slash and Sinister Gates. Just that it never gets old. And The Edge. Really? You're an adult. Where are your parents? Let's taxonomize the Red Fox, shall we? Not the Sanford and Sons actor, the animal. The kingdom is one you know, love, and are in. The kingdom is Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. Class is Mammalia. This is one that I got without looking. I already knew that the genus and species, what those were, so I got the rest of them right. The so class is Mammalia. The order is Carnivora. Because you know that if it is a mammal and it eats meat, then it is carnivora. The family is Canidae, basically in the doggish family. The genus is Vulpes.
If it eats meat, it's carnivora is not true.
If it's a mammal and it eats meat, it was most likely in carnivora, at least. If it's not a mammal, then it's not in carnivora, whether it eats meat or not. Anyway, the family's Canidae.
Birds.
The genus is Vulpes, and the species is Vulpes. Vulpes. So, since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show. Critter groups. The part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal, or what is the term of entry, or what is the collective noun? We're talking foxes here, and I think the last time we did a fox was that snarky looking fox from Africa. I forgot what his name was.
The Tibetan.
Was it the Tibet? No, that's the Tibetan wolf, right?
No, Tibetan fox. I'm pretty sure.
Tibetan fox.
Yes.
You're right. And we did the Corsac fox last year, so I don't think we've done this term of entry yet. But so if you saw a group of foxes, would you call it a skulk of foxes, B, a den of foxes, C, a huddle of foxes, or D, a trick of foxes?
A trick of foxes is good. Den, final answer.
That is incorrect.
Is it a
They
trick?
do live in dens, but their groups are not called dens. Their groups are called skulks.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good one, actually.
Yeah, it works.
A sly fox skulking about.
Yeah.
A skulk.
It's just weird because it's one of those, like, verbs that has been turned into a noun for a collective noun. It's like, oh, it's I guess I can't really... a murder. There we go. No, a murder's a noun. So I can't pull one off the top of my head here, but skulk is one where it's like it's not a noun outside of describing a group of foxes. But yeah, it's a skulk of foxes. Would you like to hear what a fox looks like? A red fox looks like.
Sure.
A red fox is what you think of when I said fox. Unless you thought of Lucius Fox.
Or
in which
Red
case,
Fox, the actor.
Good on you. Or Jamie Foxx, I suppose, is another one. There's lots of foxes out there. It's one of the most iconic animals. It is an adorable medium-sized cat dog thing. It has large, wide, pointy ears that stick straight up a long, thin snout with beady little eyes. Its back and head are covered in bright orange fur. Its cheeks and chest are white, with a long, kind of blackish orange legs and a bushy grayish orange tail. But that is only describing one of 8 different color morphs that a red fox can have, depending on how much melanization their fur has undergone. So there is the smoky variant, which I'm sure tastes delicious. There's the cross, the blackish brown, the silver, the platinum, a platinum fox, amber, and Samson. There's a Samson fox. I mean, they're all red foxes. They're all under the same species, but this is different shades that their coats can have. So some of them are self-evident, like silver or blackish brown, but it's just different. You know, one might have a black tail and gray legs, or a silver coat all throughout, or it must be pretty hard to tell these guys from like gray foxes, which are also gray sometimes. But nope, different species. But what the one that if you've seen a fox in a movie or show or book, it's the main color morph of the red fox, most likely. But I said they're medium-sized cat dog things. How medium-sized are they? How medium are they?
Extremely medium.
So medium. So mid.
I keep seeing a video that's about foxes, and it says it's called Dog Hardware Cat Software is what a fox is.
Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense. Although their behavior can be very doggish at times.
Well, welcome to the Beloved's Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It is also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself singing. I can't speak words. Saying.
Fox got your tongue?
Or chittering. I guess a fox might do a chatter or a chitter.
Oh, there's so many things that foxes do.
ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new Measure Up intro, which means we get to hear from a fox, and Carlos gets to guess who it is.
There's so many to choose from.
There are. And
let's see.
Since you've taken to trying to guess it before I play it, I'm only picking the most obscure ones from now on.
Is it going to be the Carfax fox?
That's a good option. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Don't turn around. What? Where'd he come from? Where'd you come from? What are you doing here? Canis lupus. Vulpus vulpus. I don't think he speaks English or Latin.
Is that the Fantastic Mr. Fox?
That is the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I've not seen that movie, but I think some famous voice actors, and I recognize the voice as being famous.
That movie is like...
Is that George Clooney?
It's George Clooney, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That movie is like... I don't love Wes Anderson's style of movie making, but that movie, like because it's stop motion, his style suits stop motion really well, and I like it. That movie's really funny.
The problem, I've seen like the little trailer that plays whenever I hover over it on Netflix or wherever it's on, and the stop motion is so rough that it's kind of turned me off to it.
It is kind of.
I mean,
rough.
At least in comparison to like the Leica stuff, or I mean, even going back to something like The Nightmare Before Christmas, it's like that's rough, but even that is better or less choppy and then Fantastic Mr. Fox. But maybe one day
But at least it's like it there he's trying to make it look nice rather than what every other stop motion studio apparently does, and just like let's make it grotesque.
Make the ugliest things they could possibly make.
Yeah, no.
You should watch Kubo and the Two Strings. That's a pretty good one. And not everything is, and it's got beauty in it. It's not the it's not all the misadventures of Flapjack on in the grotesque department. I actually made a little list of potential foxes that you could use, just so that I remember. There's Nick Wilde from Zootopia. There's Robin Hood, obviously, from the old Robin Hood. There's Mr. Fox from the Chronicles of Narnia. There's the Fantastic Mr. Fox. And then, of course, there's Todd
Yep. Those were all contenders, but then I saw the Wes Anderson one, and I knew you wouldn't think of that first.
It's also the only one I didn't recognize. So all the other ones I've seen many times. So
let's talk length. Oh, I almost did Tails. From Sonic.
I guess Tails is a fox.
But all the clips I found were him saying Sonic, so you would know immediately.
Oh, I actually probably wouldn't have been able to tell you what the character's name was. I would have been it's the fox from Sonic.
Really, you don't know the Tails?
I've never.
I guess you were never.
I've never played a Sonic game.
All little brothers know Tails.
Or I never watched the Sonic movies or any of the TV shows. I've just never consumed Sonic content at all. It's not interesting to me. Anyway.
Well, let's talk length. They're between 45 and 90 centimeters or 18 to 35 inches. How many red foxes go into the length of a cat o' nine tails?
Ooh.
I was thinking about Ninetales, the Pokemon, and then I looked up. There's a thing called that, right? But it's a cat o' nine tails.
Yeah, I think the Ninetales is also like a Japanese demon, because it's
or like a yokai.
Yeah, it's part of the Naruto thing where he is possessed by a fox spirit.
So here's a hint. The cat o' nine tails is an instrument of punishment for floggings that dates back to the 1600s in England. It is a braided handle with the ends that split apart into 9 thin whips.
That hint was very helpful because when you said cat o' nine tails, I was just thinking of, I think they're just called cattails. The
thing that everyone wants to eat but also tastes really bad.
The reed, yeah, the pond reed.
I
was those are 6 feet tall, so it's probably 2 of them, right? That's not bad. No, you're talking about a flogging instrument. I mean, that can be probably a bit longer, right?
Have you ever seen a video of somebody trying to eat it like a corn dog?
It does look it does look so tasty, like a corn dog.
It's because it's a million tiny little bits, and people eat it, and it turns to powder, and it's disgusting.
I've never seen somebody try to eat it. I've also never tried to eat one myself.
I don't know. Those could be toxic.
Because I know in my heart of hearts that it's not a corn dog.
Yeah, it couldn't be. Because of the curse of Adam and how hard it is to till the soil. There's no way wild corn dogs
Can you imagine if corn dogs just grew out of the ground like that naturally?
There would be no curse.
Pre-microwaved too. Oh.
Yeah. From heat from the earth.
Yeah, it can't be that easy. Otherwise, definitely wouldn't have been part of the curse. So we're gonna say 9 feet for the cat o' nine tails, which means 3. I'm saying 3 foxes go into the length of a cat o' nine tails.
Final answer.
Yes.
The correct answer is 1.
Short little thing. I'm picturing a bullwhip, I guess.
In movies, it's always bullwhips that people are standing 5-10 feet away from the people they're whipping in movies. But in reality, you wouldn't. You'd stand right next to them.
Not if you want to get don't want to get blood all over you, right?
That's true. Maybe you should use a bullwhip. The cat o' nine tails is an instrument of punishment. I already said that. The cat of nine, it is 97 centimeters or 38 and a quarter inch.
So it's 1.1.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's way off. Definitely not a nursing school victory.
Let's talk weight. Maybe you'll have better luck. They're 2.2 to 14 kilograms, or 4.9 to 30.9 pounds. Wide
31.
range. How many eastern meadow voles would a fox have to eat its weight in voles? Man, he's worth his weight in voles.
The city of voles.
Not all that glitters is voles. That's pretty funny. I like that a lot. Streets are paved with voles. Here's a hint.
That's my favorite Shia LaBeouf movie, Voles. And by favorite, I mean the only one that I can stand to watch.
Fury?
Okay, Fury's pretty good.
A vole is the same thing as a field mouse. Did you know that?
I didn't know it was the same thing.
Voles look like mice, hamsters, and lemmings, but they have stocky bodies and they usually sit on powerful hind legs.
Wait, so voles are the things that little bunny Frou Frou was bopping on the head?
Yeah.
Those poor voles.
Little bunny Foo Foo. No, those were Misi mice.
No, he's picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head.
Oh, I think there's a different version from a TV show. They say Misi mice. But yeah, you're right.
I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before, and I am up to my shoulders in children's song content.
Look up We Sing Little Bunny Foo Foo, and there's just horrifying, like people wearing colorful animal costumes, and they say Little Bunny Foo Foo, scooping up the Misi mice and bopping them on the head.
Interesting. My son has moved on to Zubumafu and actively asks for it, and I'm never looking back.
That is a beautiful time in a person's life.
Yes,
child's life.
I finally want to watch what they're watching. And also, like, sometimes I'm jotting down, like, oh, that would be an animal to do.
Is he still afraid of the claymation section with the...
No.
On this child show that's educational about animals, they're just making up fake animals.
Well, it's funny because also at the zoo, they have this lantern light thing that they're doing right now, which is really impressive, actually. And most of the lanterns are real animals. In fact, some of them look real from a distance. That's how well these lanterns are done. And then for a little while, they just had like unicorns and dragons and stuff like that. And it was like, but son, these ones aren't real. This is not a real thing. We passed the jaguar. That one was that was a lantern of a real animal. This is not a real thing. But yeah. So he's no longer scared of the claymation Zabuland sections.
Okay, good.
It's just a joy to relive that nostalgia, and also continue learning about animals. So, all right, back to the task at hand.
Could have
voles weigh. I'm gonna say 8 ounces, half a pound. Ounces are the heaviest thing, so it's probably way too much. They probably weigh 1 ounce, but we're going to go with 8. So I'm going to say 60. I'm going to say 60. I'm going to say 70. Just to put a little cheddar on there, because I think that maybe half a pound is too much. So 70 voles go into the weight of your average red fox.
Final answer?
Yes.
The correct answer is 274. You were right. A vole is around 0.8 to 1.8 ounces. 23 to 51 grams.
Yes, there we go. Grams. That I'm every time we do this, I'm becoming more and more of an advocate of the metric system.
Grams are good.
I think that I think ounces are way too big to be the smallest unit of weight. I think seconds, even though everybody uses seconds, I think seconds are way too long to be the smallest unit of time. Ounces are too big.
Fahrenheit, though.
Fahrenheit is pretty good because I guess I'm all for like granularity. Break it down a little bit more. Each centigrade is too big. Fahrenheit allows you to be more precise because Celsius is so imprecise that it's like at some point I kind of want to be like, can you turn it up to like 14 and a half?
I mean, can you imagine centigrade 451? That book would be melting molecules. Celsius 450.
That's absolute heat right there. Centigrade 451. All right. We're all good with the measure up. Time for some fast facts before we get to the major car facts.
Yeah.
All right. So the red fox lives primarily in the northern hemisphere, but it lives all over the place. It lives in a large swath of eastern North America, all of Europe, most of Asia, even a smidge of North Africa in the Moroccan region. And it also has been introduced to southern Australia, so it is an invasive species over there, and a pretty raucous one at that. Given the fact that it eats everything, it's an omnivore. And because they live all over the world, the red fox has been shown to eat more than 300 different animal species, as well as several dozen plant species. They need to eat at least 18 ounces of food every day, which is a little bit more than a pound. And they eat pretty much anything that's smaller than they are, as well as sometimes things that are bigger. But mostly they eat voles, like you mentioned, ground squirrels, hamsters, gerbils, woodchucks, gophers. Small mammals is their bread and butter. Well, they go well with bread and butter at least. But they'll also eat blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cherries, persimmons, grapes, and they'll also eat grasses and sedges, roots, things like that. They'll eat if they can take down a young ungulate, like a deer or something like that. A youngulate, if you will. Carl Youngulate.
That's gonna be my new rapper name.
The Youngulate and the Famous. Then they will go. Yeah, they will go after the young of larger animals like deer. And they'll also scavenge food. They will eat carrion, or they'll scare off the predators that have taken down larger prey and eat the carrion. Males are called tods, and females are called vixens. Tods and vixens. Makes you want to open like a fox-themed restaurant, just so that I can put Tods and Vixens on the bathroom doors like Blokes and Sheila's at Outback. Although unfortunately that would just turn into like a furry restaurant, and I'm not about that. So, so because they live all over the world, they have a very wide diet, but they also have a wide range of predators. There are leopards and eagles and lynxes, cougars, bobcats, wolves, coyotes, owls. Lots of animals prey on the red fox. But researchers believe that they sometimes cooperate with other animals. They believe that there's a sort of mutualism that exists between Eurasian badgers and red foxes, because the fox will leave scraps of food behind after it eats, and the badger keeps the den clean. So it's kind of like one keeps the house clean and the other one brings home the bacon. It's a marriage from straight out of the 50s, right? It's the Incredibles. But it's just Mr. Fox and Mr. Badger until Mr. Toad drives a car through their house. So they not only are preyed upon by other animals, but they also compete with other animals for food, since they eat so many different kinds of food. They'll especially carcasses that are left behind. So they'll have to fight off like hyenas and wolves, other foxes, jackals, buzzards. Just when an animal goes down, everybody wants a piece. And then the last thing I have is remember back there was a viral video called What Does the Fox Say?
Mm-hmm.
Which is just it's funny that video was like, yeah, like, what does the fox say? I know what the cow says and what the dog says and what the horse says, but I don't know what the fox says. Most animals I don't know what they say. Like it's especially most like mammals. Like, what do they say? There's only like a handful of ones that we learned from a young age, which again I am up to my shoulders in. To animal sounds, but now going through like the animal book that my son likes so much, I realize I don't know the vocalizations of most of them, and he asks about each one. He'll ask about what each one eats, where it lives, and what it says. And it's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what the emu says. I don't know what the platypus says. I don't know what the shrimp says.
Shrimp doesn't say anything.
It says blub, 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 right?
The platypus? That's a good question. What does a platypus say? Well, did you find out? Did you look up the sound of a fox?
Yeah, so a fox says quite a bit. They have a wide range of vocalizations that span 5 octaves, and they do a lot of different kinds of sounds, including barking, huffing, whining, shrieking, geckering, which is like a rattling kind of sound, wailing, warbling, and chirping, which they will use. And they've been split into 2 different categories. One set of sounds is called contact calls. So these are the sounds they will use to locate each other if they're far away. And the other section is interaction calls, which are they communicate levels of friendliness or aggression. So based on if they are coming up against a rival or something they need to scare off or a predator, they might use one sound, or they're coming across one of their kits or a member of their skulk. Then they might use a different one. So, and that's all I got. You can for the fast fox.
That's the fast facts. I'll show you the car fox. Well, let's talk about the major fact, which I am calling animal magnetism.
Nice.
You might be familiar with the way foxes will jump up in the air and come down onto prey snout first, even when their food is hidden under snow or vegetation. But how do they do that? So foxes have large ears that can help them hunt when visual confirmation of food is not available. So researchers, though, believe that they might have another technique to precisely pinpoint their snacks called magnetoreception. And that's
nice.
When Eric Lenshire gets married and they have snacks and a cocktail hour.
Oh, I thought that's when because he's in the same building as you, the reception you get on your cell phone is just absolutely garbage.
Oh, no. It's when, like, you
It's
go
like, ah,
to
man,
his
Eric's
office.
here. We got Magneto reception. I can't pull up the recipe.
No, it's like when you
can't search
when
for
there's
homes
a
on Zillow
person working
anymore.
at the front desk.
Oh,
his
yes.
office.
It's when he's the maitre d'. It's Magneto reception.
But how do we possibly know this, that they have this magnetoreception? A 2011 research paper says that foxes seem to have better success when they are facing northeast when they're hunting.
Same.
When they're doing one of these diving mouse catching adventures. So attacks toward the north, where cover is increased, they're more successful than attacks in other directions. So researchers ruled out other factors that might explain this directional preference, including the time of day, season, cloud cover, and wind direction. So this could be a case of magnetic alignment that enhances the precision of hunting attacks. Foxes likely use hearing as a primary means of hunting small concealed prey. Did I say they use hearing? That's their main go-to when they can't see what they're hunting for. But the magnetic alignment might help them judge distance precisely. So, and this is similar to the theory that migratory birds use magnetic fields to judge the distance to the horizon.
And salmon as well.
Yeah.
Possibly use magnetic fields to find their way back to their home stream.
I'm a little wary that magnetic fields is like dark matter. It's a placeholder for stuff we can't really explain. But
I don't get it. It's magnets, right? It just must be magnets. It's magic. It's natural magic.
So foxes, it might work like this. Like the fox is able to estimate the distance moving forward until the sound source that they're listening to coincides with the inclination of the magnetic field. In other words, they're using both hearing and the magnetic field to triangulate precise distance. And so they'll walk forward until it pings, I guess. So but what does that mean? How does the fox perceive the magnetic field? So the paper suggested a few mechanisms for this ability, including a magnetite-based compass or a light-dependent radical pair reaction in the retina. I don't know what those words mean, but I know retina means eyeball.
I just know that in any fruit salad, you do not want a radical pair reaction.
Pair as in two. So this could mediate the magnetic targeting system. Or this could mean this. I heard it explained like a heads-up display in their vision that helps them locate their prey, like
they have
predator.
Google Glass.
Yeah, which literally on their eyeballs, there's something reacts with the magnetic field that triangulates with the hearing that tells of the distance. Sounds like we don't know what we're talking about because, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. But it sounds like spitballing for the mechanism, but we don't really know how a lot of animals that are said to be able to use magnetic fields of the earth to get around and judge distance. We don't really know how they do it, but they're able to do kind of amazing things with no senses we can perceive.
And without a sextant.
Yeah. So, yeah. And if you think about it, like, if you're hearing something underneath snow or underneath foliage, how would they be able to, like, jump high into the air and come right down on it? And they said that the success when they're facing northeast is like 75% of successful hunts happen when they're facing northeast. So, like, why would they need to face the same direction every time? Very intriguing. If only we could just be like see a fox's vision. If only we could. So
if you're a vole scurrying under the snow and a fox is southwest of you, you are done for.
Yeah, you need lead-lined coats, tiny little lead coats,
or just like move in a cardinal direction until you're no longer northeast of the fox, and then you should.
But if you move too much, then they'll just go. They'll go old-fashioned and see you.
Or the fox will just orient itself so that you are still northeast.
But yeah, that's all I got.
So basically magnet magic.
When they started talking about they might have a heads-up display, obviously it's not like a heads-up display, but it's like something in their field of vision that like twitches when they're in accordance with this magnetic field. What the heck? Sci-fi animals? Who did this?
Yeah, what is it? It's like a cybernetic fox. I'm surprised that hasn't been done already. Like Isle of Dogs.
I mean, just in general. You know Isle of Dogs, but you don't know Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I have not seen Isle of Dogs. I saw a poster of it, and one of the dogs had a cybernetic eye, and so that's where I went. It's an adorable dog thing with a that was half cyborg. So
made by the same people.
Yeah, same Wes Anderson
in the same
situation. Style. Looks smoother though, a lot smoother than Mr. Fox though. By the way, foxes do not make good pets, even though they look like they would. They are wild animals. And the Kratt brothers always say, never get close to an animal you don't know. And only touch an animal if an adult says it's okay. Like Zob, like Zabu.
Did you? I couldn't hear most of what you just said, but did you end the episode with like Zabu?
No. I still have my ending.
Okay. Well, do it. I can't hear you.
You can't? Okay, so for you out there in Podcastia, for all of you Todds and Vixens out there in Podcastia, expand your diet. Find a nice badger to settle down with. And use magnets to get around like the red fox here in life, death, and taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
I heard all that.